Columbus, Georgia, this is your City Council. Mayor Teresa Tomlinson. City Manager Isaiah Hughley. Pop Barnes, District 1. Glenn Davis, District 2. Bruce Huff, District 3. Evelyn Turner Pugh, Mayor Pro Tem and District 4. Mike Baker, District 5. Gary Allen, District 6. Mimi Woodson, District 7. Tom Buck, District 8. Judy Thomas, Post 9 at-large counselor. Skip Henderson, Post 10 at-large counselor. Tiny Washington, Clerk of Council. And City Attorney Clifton Fay. Columbus, Georgia, this is your City Council.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 7th meeting of the Columbus City Council. We have a full meeting for you today. This is actually a multifaceted meeting. We have our regular proclamation and resolution session. Many of you are here for that. We also, by law, are required to have a taxpayer bill of rights hearing, so we have to stop dead at 6 o'clock and have that. It's usually fairly short, but we'll see tonight. We can resume with the proclamation session. Then we will get on with our regular business meeting after that. So most of you should be up and out of here in about an hour and a half, and we'll be here all night long. So thank you for joining us again. You're going to see your city at work, and we want to invite Reverend Mike Randall with the Weems Road Free Will Baptist Church to come and get us started on the right foot this evening with an invocation consistent with his faith tradition. Reverend Randall, so good to see you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the honor and the privilege to be here tonight. Psalm 67 begins with an invocation and ends with a doxology. It begins with the words, God be merciful, bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us. Let us pray. Our most gracious, kind, loving Father in heaven, I come as a humble servant to offer a simple prayer. Father, I pray for your grace and your guidance upon our Honorable Mayor Tomlinson and for each member of this City Council and for each department head that is represented here this evening. Father, your word tells us there is wisdom to be found in many counselors. We're also taught, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Father, we pray for that direction tonight. I pray for the agenda set before this assembly. Please, dear Lord, give an assurance of what will bless you and what will benefit each and every citizen that lives and works in and around our beloved Columbus, Georgia. I pray for your grace and your protection on all the men and women who serve in our protective services. Father, give them the shield of faith to protect them and give them the peace and the courage to enforce our statutes and the laws of this state, not only by the letter of the law, but by the spirit of the law as well. I pray an anointing of compassion and courage on those men and women who serve in our emergency responsive services, those EMTs, those paramedics and firefighters who serve us here in Columbus, Georgia. Father, I pray for the upcoming prayer rally for peace and an end to violence. Father, I pray that if it be your will that we, the citizens of Columbus, Georgia, set an example for this nation, that we may learn to live together at peace with one another and learn to protect and look out for one another and learn to make our streets safer for each and every person that lives within this city. And Lord, I ask a special touch of grace and mercy, protection and strength upon our military families that live and serve in this area that means so much to the progress of Columbus, Georgia. And Father, I pray for those that are serving in harm's way that you protect them and bring them home safely. As well, Father, I pray for the families that are left behind. Bless each and every citizen of this progressive city as only you can, Father God. And it is in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Reverend Randall, thank you so very much, and appreciate you mentioning the prayer rally, which is going to be Sunday at 2:30 at St. Luke United Methodist Church. The entire community is invited, of course, and again, that's this Sunday at 2:30 at St. Luke United Methodist Church, our third annual prayer rally to end violence. Thank you so much for being here. And we also have some big helpers from the YMCA summer camp. We're going to ask them to come forward, and Tiasha has a microphone for you. Come on up and stand right on those marks on the rug there. All right, if you all will stand and prepare to join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's give them a big round of applause. And we want to get your name and find out how old you are.
My name is Peyton Wright and I'm 10 years old. My name is Jonah Smith. I'm 6 years old.
I am Preston Wright, and I am 8 years old.
My name is Paxton Gerald Bright, and I'm 11 years old, soon to be 12.
All right, good. Yes, very important. And Will needs to.
My name's William Little III, and I'm 9 years old.
Excellent. And we also have Scott here, too. And Scott asked to take a picture. If y'all want to come up right up here real quick, we can get a picture of kind of the whole council. Come up here and we can get the big seal behind you. How about that?
Everybody say cheese. Cheese. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, guys. Come back and see us again soon. You all were big helpers. All right. We're going to jump right on into our proclamation session. First up, we have a proclamation honoring Midtown Inc. We're going to turn it over to our new city councilor, Walker Garrett, and ask the representatives of Midtown Inc. To please come forward to the podium.
I'm honored to represent Midtown as a very helpful organization in my district, and hope that we'll be able to do great things together. The proclamation reads, whereas the Parks and Recreation Department and City of Columbus received a gift of art in the form of a mural painted on the Lake Bottom Band shell, and whereas this mural is a gift from Midtown Inc. to the community and was commissioned in honor of the 20th anniversary of the Arts in the Park, an annual celebration sponsored by the Maricopa St. Elmo Historic Preservation Society, and whereas Arts in the Park patrons loved watching the work in progress and residents have repeatedly offered thanks for adding to their view of the park, and whereas the mural was designed and painted by Haley Matwig, Ashley Colbert, and Gazzy Holloway, and whereas this gift exceeded the expectations of all involved and will be something to treasure for years to come, now therefore, I, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, do hereby proclaim June 7th, 2016, Midtown Inc. Day, in witness thereof. I guess I'll have to say the rest of that.
Let's give them a round of applause, everyone. Excellent job. Ann, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Councilor Garrett, thank you. Mayor, councilors, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve as a partner with you. And we're honored by your trust in our work, and we really appreciate your vision and forward thinking for the community. We really appreciate the opportunity to work very closely with the professionals on city staff, and none more so than the awesome team from Parks and Rec. And thank you, James and Holly and Becky and Tommy and your whole team for the opportunity to work for you and partner with you and for all you do for this community to make it a great place for all of our citizens. In the past 2 years, we've had several chances to work with Parks and Rec, enhancing Ewart Park, working with United Way and Leadership Columbus, and also installing a 9-hole disc golf course in Dinglewood Park on 13th Street. And this spring was very special, honoring and celebrating the 20th anniversary of Arts in the Park with the commission of murals for the Lake Bottom Park Bandshell. So I want to introduce you and to thank a few very important people. Representing Midtown Inc. board and staff, Bitsy Deadwilder and Cameron Bean, and it was Cameron's brilliant idea that was the genesis of this Lake Bottom Park bandshell mural. I'd also like, and they didn't come up here with me, but to thank the founders and sustainers of Arts in the Park. Tony Lazansky couldn't be here. Sharon Pierce, Lee and John Stewart are here representing the good people of Waracoba St. Elmo Historic District, who are the founders and sustainers of, for 20 years, of this remarkable community celebration of arts and neighborhood and food and good fun and music. So it's a great celebration, and all of us know how hard it is to keep something going and growing for 20 years. So thank you all. And finally, our young and talented artists, Haley Matwig and Ashley Colbert, and we really appreciate their CSU professor, Hannah Israel, for introducing us to these three, and with their friend Gazzy Holloway, these three young artists who created this wonderful mural. And be on the lookout for these talented young women. You'll be hearing more about them, and it was a great pleasure to work with them, and we will look forward to future opportunities to partner with you. So thank you all so much.
What a difference. I mean, that is just amazing. And I want to commend the artists and you all for pulling it together. But what's so important about this is that public art is so important to our civic spaces. And we're finding that more and more of those areas that have unique public art are the ones that people tend to gather there and enjoy their experiences more. And so I commend you on something. I've never seen anything like it. Maybe you were inspired by something you had seen. I don't know, but it's remarkable, and I applaud you. I think it's fantastic. Thank you for offering us your time. Let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you.
Come on around. We want to shake your hand. Come on around and let us shake your hand. See you? Yeah. All right. Good to see you. Yeah. They are so good to see you. That's so wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you for all you do. Yeah. Cameron, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to turn it over to Councilor Mike Baker. We're going to ask Anne Marie Emile to come forward, please, to the podium. And thank you, Councilor Baker.
Thank you. It's always
Fancy.
a pleasure and a privilege to recognize one of our own. So it's my pleasure to read the proclamation tonight. And it reads as follows. Whereas employees of the Columbus Consolidated Government are our most valuable resources, and whereas because fit and healthy employees are more efficient, effective, and productive, the Workers' Compensation Program of the Columbus Consolidated Government is vital to maintaining our employees' health and fitness for duty. And whereas it is important to provide the best treatment for our employees in the most expeditious manner, and whereas it is most important for the psychological health of our injured employees and for the performance of the mission of the Columbus Consolidated Government that injured employees be returned to work as soon as medically possible. And whereas under the leadership of Anne Marie Emile, the implementation of improvements of the workers' compensation program has resulted in the annual cost of claims for workspace injuries being reduced by over $1.5 million. And whereas the Columbus Consolidated Government was awarded the 2015 National Theodore Roosevelt Workers' Compensation and Disability Management Award for outstanding overall performance, sustainability, and innovation in developing and implementing our organization's workers' compensation program. Whereas all citizens of Columbus and employees of the Columbus Consolidated Government are urged to recognize and appreciate the contributions made to the public good by outstanding employees. Now therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim June 7th, 2016, Anne Marie Amiel Day. Congratulations.
All right.
Thank you.
Anne Marie, please tell us a little bit about this, and I have a very special award I'm going to be presenting you here with in a moment. It's gorgeous.
It is.
And well-deserved. So tell us about
Thank you.
this.
It's been awarded for 20 years at the National Conference of Workers' Comp and Disability. It's a conference that has 10,000 attendees, and they have 250 plus nominations for the award every year. They award 4 of these beautiful awards. The other 3 winners last year were American Airlines, Stater Brothers, who are a big grocery chain on the West Coast, and a New Jersey East Coast healthcare organization. And Little Columbus, Georgia was the 4th winner. And we were the only public entity that won. This year they have asked me to help judge, and they want me to present at the conference. And I'm going to co-present on Return to Work, which was a large part of the program that I designed. I'm going to co-present with Pat Biegler from Public Works, because I use her as my guinea pig, all the ideas, and we put in place a program that brings people back ahead of that 12-week psychological point where people can start feeling as though they're invalids. But we have really made waves around the country. They're going to do an article on our Workplace Athlete Day, which was an idea that arose in the conference last year. Pat came, paid her own way, folks, came and clapped, and we talked to people there, and we started this year a Workplace Athlete Day for employees to encourage safety and reduction in injuries, and it's the first of its kind around the country.
Well, I think a lot of times citizens hear that various departments have won awards, and of course that's great for so many different reasons. It's not just that it brings accolades to the city, certainly, and recognizes our fine employees, but it's also because we're offering superior services to our citizens, and in this case, saving our citizens hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Because of some of these things, the risk management strategies that have been employed since you've been here, and some of the new strategies that council's implemented, it's rethought our risk management. And when you look back to where we were 6 years ago, it's a whole new world. And so I commend you and those you work with, because we really are making a big difference for the taxpayers. And as we know, we can put that money to good use elsewhere. So thank you for what you do. Let's give her another round of applause. Come around, let's recognize her. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, Anne Marie. Be careful, it's very heavy. All right. She drops that award, she's going to break a toe. And it's heavy. Well, again, congratulations, Anne Marie, and our staff that helps make that happen. We very much appreciate all you do. Next, we want to call forward the group from NeighborWorks, Kathy Williams, Belva Dorsey, Justin Krieg, and others with the NeighborWorks board. And we're going to turn the floor over to Councilor Judy Thomas for a special proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a privilege to be able to read the proclamation tonight honoring our NeighborWorks institution and association. Whereas National NeighborWorks Week, let me start that over again. Whereas National NeighborWorks Week was initiated in 1984 by a United States congressional resolution co-sponsored by more than 260 members of Congress and signed by President Reagan. And whereas the formal introduction of National NeighborWorks Week occurred in the spring of 1986 and began an annual national celebration held the first through the second Saturday in June. And whereas National NeighborWorks Week is a celebration of neighborhood pride and unity among organizations in more than 2,500 urban, suburban, and rural communities across the country. And whereas National NeighborWorks Week celebrates the efforts of local organizations working with partners and volunteers to create healthier communities. And whereas NeighborWorks Columbus, a NeighborWorks America organization, has worked in Columbus for 15 years and has assisted over 1,525 families in becoming homeowners. Now, therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim the week of June the 4th through the 12th, 2016, as NeighborWorks Columbus Week. Congratulations,
Let's
guys.
give them a round of applause, everyone.
Councilor Thomas, Mayor, and the rest of council, we appreciate it very, very much. I'm Justin Krieg, and I have the current privilege of serving as the board chair of NeighborWorks Columbus. And as many of you all know, we help provide fit and affordable housing to those in our community and the region who need it. And we have, we'd like to say, successfully done that for the last 15 or so years. And it couldn't have been done without the leadership of Kathy Williams and some of the other staff members and board members we've got here tonight. But we very much appreciate the recognition, and it's a privilege to be here and accept this on behalf of NeighborWorks. Thank you.
Just also, I'd like to add that at NeighborWorks Columbus, every day we help veterans, the elderly, and our low to moderate income families with their housing choices. And we're very fortunate to be able to do that as a true partner with the City of Columbus, and we appreciate that partnership greatly. And I want to recognize both Justin and Seth Brown as our board members, Lisa Scribner and David Fox as our managers. David? Really? And we appreciate this.
Well, come on around. What you all do is amazing. And I've seen you take houses and redo them, and it's just an incredible thing. Let's give them a round of applause, folks. Thank you all. You do such great work. Thank you. Appreciate you. You're there. Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to call up Shanta Patrick for a special proclamation. And again, we're going to have Councilor Garrett read this proclamation. Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Patrick, just so I make sure, is it Shantae or Shanta?
Shantae.
Shantae. Okay, I want to make sure I get it right. Okay. Whereas the City of Columbus, Georgia, and the surrounding area is steadily growing and is in need of positive role models such as Dr. Shantae Patrick, and whereas Dr. Shantae Patrick is an educator in the Muskogee County Schools, an alumnus of the Muskogee County Schools and Columbus State University, and is versed in the arts and self-esteem empowerment, and whereas Dr. Shantae Patrick has made her lifelong goal to encourage girls and women of all sizes and ethnicities to love themselves and find their inner queen, and has established the DAZZLE program for girls and young women to aid in the formation of positive self-esteem and body image through the implementation of the arts. And whereas Dr. Shante Patrick co-authored the book Crown of Thorns, Diary of a Beauty Queen, with the intentions of bringing awareness to the community and the world about having the courage to speak up as a rape victim, healing after past hurts, and overcoming other adversities of life. And whereas Dr. Shante Patrick appeared in the music video, Such a Lady, a purpose to provide a positive example to young ladies to carry themselves in a positive manner at all times. Whereas Dr. Shante Patrick has been recognized in the community as a positive leader who is leaving a positive legacy and has been celebrated at Fort Service Learning Magnet Academy by having her picture and accompanying information as a permanent fixture on their wall. And whereas Dr. Shante Patrick has been selected as a featured guest speaker in numerous Muskogee County schools, after-school programs, churches, community centers, media outlets, and events to share her motivational life story. Now, therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim June 7th, 2016, Dr. Shante Patrick Day. Congratulations.
All right.
I want to extend a warm and heartfelt thank you to every member of the council. It is definitely a wonderful privilege to be a member and citizen of our wonderful city, and I pray that every single day that I'm doing something to leave a positive impact. When I was a little girl, I always said that I wanted to be someone who ended up in a history book for a positive reason. When I was reading about people, and I said, you know what, they were a child just like me at one time. So every day that I wake up, I want to do something. When I put my feet on the ground, it's my goal. I want to do something that is making a positive impact in someone's life. So I'm glad that evidently that's happening. The word is spreading, and we're going to continue to spread positivity not only in our city, but also across the state and hopefully across the nation. I want to tell you thank you, and thank you to my support system here. They're wonderful.
Yeah, introduce them. Let us know who's with you there.
I'm very blessed and fortunate to have a wonderful friend, one of my biggest cheerleaders, Miss Carol Moore. You all know her very well, I'm sure. My wonderful husband, Officer Anthony Patrick. My very supportive and awesome father, Mr. Jesse McClurkin. My mother and role model, Diane McClurkin. My nephew, Ontario Gates. My son, what's your name? Marcus Bass. Marcus Bass. I also have a few more supporters out there. I see Miss Sharika Day, who also does wonderful empowerment activities within our community. And yes, my best friend is back there, Miss Tamika Ingram. My sister, Jessica Gates, is back there. Former student and now friend. Now she's not in my class anymore. Miss Julia is also back there. So I want to tell them thank you very, very much.
Well, you've got a great support group, and that allows you to do some wonderful things. Thank you for what you do for this community. Councilor Huff.
Congratulations. I did not know you all were such a dynamic duo. Had the pleasure of being with your husband Saturday morning. I appreciate him for being there. He was there representing the Phoenix City side. We had two of our officers on this side, Officer Payton and Fitzpatrick. And they met with the Alpha Phi Alphas and the 100 Black Men on teaching the kids how to better interact with law enforcement here in the Bi-City area, or Tri-City area. And I appreciate it. I've been to Fort Middle School many times over the last 5.5 years and had the pleasure of watching the great things you all are doing and what you are doing to help that program there. You have great leadership there, and I understand you have a new gymnasium that's being built for next year, I guess, or would be online maybe within a year or so. I'm not sure the timeline, but I know you had a groundbreaking.
Well, let me clarify. I'm not a teacher at Fort Service Learning Magnet Academy, but since you've been there, you know they have a wall of fame,
right.
And so they actually put my picture on the wall. I'm
right.
actually a teacher at Winton Arts Academy.
Winton Arts, okay. Yes. Okay. I know I've seen your picture when I was there.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Congratulations again, and thank your husband for Saturday morning.
Thank you very much. And you're welcome.
Come on around and let us recognize you. Let's give her another round of applause. All right. Let's get some pictures. pictures. Yeah. We are straight up at 6 o'clock, and as the law requires, we're now going to turn it over to our city attorney for the Taxpayer Bill of Rights hearing. Mr. Fay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This hearing is required by Georgia statute known as OCGA 48-5-32.1. Whenever the digest, the value of all property in the county, is proposed to increase over the past year. And there's been an ad run in the paper that a lot of people saw about the property value, digest value for the past 5 years. And there's tentative millage rates attached to all the tax districts. It's been advertised, and Ms. Hodge is here from Deputy City Manager's office if there are any questions, but we'll open it up to the audience. This is a required public hearing, so if anybody has questions about the tax digest or tentative millage rates, now's the time to raise your hand. I don't see any. Mayor, any questions up here around the table?
Does not appear to be at this time.
All right. Thank you again, Ms. Hodge. This is, I think, 2 out of a series of 3 required hearings, so there'll be another one next week. That hearing is concluded.
All right. Thank you very much. And we'll resume then with our proclamation session. Next, we're going to be representing Patrick Hall, or excuse me, we're going to be calling forward Patrick Hall and members of the Columbus Firefighter and EMS Department. If you would come up to the podium, we're going to turn it over to Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll let them come up. Any family members that happen to be here would like to come too, please come forward. It's a pleasure to recognize one of our local heroes. Whereas on Monday, February 8th, 2016, a house fire occurred in which 2 people were still inside. And whereas before firefighters arrived, Mr. Patrick Hull placed himself at great risk to save the life of others. And whereas without the selfless and brave act by Mr. Hull, the occupants might have perished. Whereas Mr. Patrick Hull's actions are consistent with the highest traditions in the fire service. And whereas the City of Columbus and the Department of Fire and EMS recognize Mr. Hull for his brave actions on that day. Now, therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim June 7th, 2016, Patrick Hull Day. Congratulations.
Wow, let's give him a round of applause. Oh, he's trying to sneak off. We're not going to let him. Mr. Hall, thank you so much. What a tremendous thing. We all like to think we would be heroes if the time called for it, but the truth is few step up, and certainly fewer run towards danger. And so thank you so very much. Would you like to say a few words?
I'd say the real heroes are right here.
Yeah.
I just did what I want anybody to do for me.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it, and I know we're so glad, and they were so glad that you were there that day. We also want to recognize our firefighter and EMS folks here, led by Chief Meyer. Chief, hello, and thank you for being here. We also want to recognize new Captain Ashley Thompson. He's going to step up and give his 4-minute speech. We've told him that all new captains give a 4-minute dissertation on I told him he can't be afraid of public speaking if it runs into burning buildings.
We can't do that.
Yeah, no.
Actually, doesn't mind running into a burning building, but speaking is a whole other matter.
We're fortunate to have you, and I hope you take this as a good-natured ribbing. So we want to have all of you heroes come around and let us recognize you. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Councilor Thomas.
Mayor,
Wait, hold on a second. Mr. Hall, you got some more accolades coming, I'm afraid.
I just want to point out that Patrick may have a role model in that group over there. Lieutenant Hull, who is on the Columbus Fire Department, is his brother.
Yeah.
And so he may have been watching him all these years do all of these wonderful things. Thank you so much, Patrick, for what you did. It really warms our hearts to know that we have people like you in our community who are willing and ready to do whatever is necessary. Thanks again.
Well, thank you for pointing that out. So you knew the cavalry was coming. Yeah. Do you want to introduce some other folks Tom Short, you want to just tell us, point to them, tell us who they are since they're on camera here, and let's recognize them for being here. Of course, Patrick Hull, and then...
Right.
Yeah.
We got Patrick and, of course, his brother, Captain Hull. He's on our training division. Chief Meyer, appreciate you coming. Chief Streeter, Chief Operations. And, of course, our newly appointed captain, Captain Thomas, who's also riding as a battalion chief today. So he's got a lot of responsibility to shoulder this afternoon. He does a great job. And we're thrilled to be here. We bring people all the time up here every now and then that are able to put their life in harm's way to rescue someone else. But it's not very often that we have somebody that rescues two people in one incident. So where we have the training and the proper equipment, to do our jobs, this guy went in here with nothing and put his self in harm's way, and we can't thank him enough. Really did make our job easier, and certainly a 5-star recruit here.
Wow.
We're wishing we had him. Thank you for recognizing him today.
You bet. Thank you all. Come around and let us shake your hands. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you don't mind. Taught them well, huh? Yeah. Good. It's a great story and wonderful, isn't it? We got some remarkable people in Columbus doing some remarkable things, and I don't think we're through recognizing them yet this evening. So we're going to turn it over to Councilor Thomas and ask those, the Board of Directors, to come forward with a Reentry Awareness Month. If you all with the Reentry Awareness Month will come forward to the podium, we'll turn it over to Councilor Thomas.
And before they all get out of the room, Mayor, it's Captain Hull, not Lieutenant Hull. Made a little mistake. This proclamation was one that was requested by Councilor Barnes, and so I am pleased to read it on his behalf this evening. Whereas Muskogee County is one of the 8 Georgia counties that receive over 43% of the state's returning citizens, those who have been released from incarceration, many of whom face barriers to having a successful reentry into the community, such as obtaining employment and housing and being discriminated against because of the stigmatization associated with having a criminal record. And whereas returning citizens can be an integral part of a community and deserve to be recognized for their positive efforts and contributions made to the city and its economy, as many are or become respected leaders, business owners, and upstanding, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens within their communities. And whereas reentry, when fully implemented, helps shape a positive narrative of the experience, provides human dignity and respect, which impacts the thinking and mental activity of each individual, and empowers returning citizens to refrain from crime and incentivizes law-abiding behavior. And whereas supporting and bringing awareness to reentry will not only bring restoration to families, build stronger communities, and ensure a more just society, but will remind us that returning citizens are capable of becoming productive individuals and should be supported in their efforts to successfully reintegrate. And whereas reentry will have a new face full of compassion and kindness, as old impressions and stigmas associated with having a criminal record are abolished, and gives returning citizens a voice and a vehicle for the expression of their humanity here in Columbus. And whereas Columbus shows a promise as being a great place for all of its community members to have equal opportunities at productivity and citizenship, and therefore wishes to join in the celebration to support its returning citizens. Now, therefore, Teresa Pike Tomlinson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, does hereby proclaim July 2016 as Reentry Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're honored to be able to get this proclamation where next month we will be honoring throughout the month activities to not only equip and empower and restore individuals, but to let the community know the advantages of giving opportunities in housing and employment to individuals with criminal records. New Life Second Chance Outreach is an organization that was founded by me in 2009, started it in 2014. I am a returning citizen, and oftentimes when people see returning citizens, they have the same stigma of what they look like. So I wanted to be able to show that a different face of reentry, that we are productive people in the community, we are community leaders, we want to be positive in our communities. So what we do is volunteer our time to provide job readiness trainings to individuals with criminal records. We want to make sure that they are successful in the job market and let them know what they're doing wrong and what they can do better. We connect them with employers in the community who are willing to hire them and give them the second chances that they need. And over the 2 years that we have been volunteering our time, we have an 80% success rate of getting our clients employed. So we want to make sure that we let society know that all of us are not the same. People make mistakes. Everybody has made mistakes. A lot of people just have not been caught. And so we want to let people know the importance of forgiveness, showing compassion, and giving people second chances, because people need jobs, people need houses in order to take care of their families. And they need that in order to feel productive. And if people are not productive, they have greater chances of reoffending. And so we want to be able to do our part in the community to stop the recidivism rates. Thank you so much. We have our board of directors here.
Sure.
Daniel Thomas, Reverend Daniel Thomas, Jonathan Green, Denise Thomas, Miko Menifee, and Andez Jones.
Well, what you guys do is tremendous. We got Counselor Huff.
Thank you so much for what you do. You said you started in 2009. I came on board here in 2011, and just want to let you know your board member behind you, Reverend Thomas, if you can't find me, he can put his hands on me. He sees me on a regular basis. So anything I can do to help, please let me know.
Okay.
Thank
We'll
you.
have a lot of activities starting next month, presentations, forums. We'll be showing reentry-focused movies at the libraries. We'll have a panel speaking of a lot of people in the community who are successful returning citizens who own their own business. So we'll have a lot of activities for next month.
Will you have a voter awareness this summer?
At each one of our events, we're planning on having somewhere there for voter registration. A lot of people who have criminal records don't realize that they actually can vote.
Right.
So we are doing our part to make sure that we educate them as well, that they'll be able to register to vote. So we're going to have those at each event.
All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, well, come on around, let us shake your hand. Wow, tremendous. Thank you. There you go. Thank you for your hard work. It's important. Thank you so much. Appreciate your hard work. Very important what you do. Thank you for your hard work, sir. All right. Thank y'all. Let's give them another round of applause, folks. And next, we're going to call forward Jeremy Hobbs to the podium to recognize Columbus Gay Pride Month. And we're going to have Counselor Woodson read the proclamation. Good evening.
Good evening. Jeremy, it's always good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Whereas we are reminded that we are not truly equal until every person is afforded the same rights and opportunity, that other journeys is not complete until liberals, gays, bisexuals, and transgender LGBT brothers and sisters are treated equal under the law. And whereas Columbus Gay Pride and its partners for equalization from every walk of life, rating against and help to help the passage of SB 129, an anti-gay religious freedom bill. Work to unite and educate our community with the creation of equalness for all town hall meetings and candidate forums to ensure our elected leaders serve all by answering to and hearing from the voices of our LGBT community, and in collaboration with the city officials, work to double our Human Rights Equality Index score. And whereas Columbus Gay Pride supports effort to protect LGBTQ youth, recognize their families come in many shapes, size, whether biological, foster, adopted, and family acceptance is an important protection factor against suicide and human for LGBTQ youth. Whereas Columbus Gay Pride community to address bullying and harassment in our classrooms ensures every student has a neutral environment in which to learn and grow. Whereas because too many LGBTQ youth faces homelessness and too many older individuals struggle to find welcoming, affordable housing, Columbus Gay Pride is striving to ensure the equal access to safe and supporting housing throughout one's lifetime and available. And whereas Columbus Gay Pride and raises awareness of HIV continues to work to update the nation's HIV and AIDS strategy to better address the disproportionate burden HIV has on our community of gay and bisexual men, transsexual women. And whereas during liberal, lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender Pride Month, Columbus Gay Pride hosts its third annual LGBT Pride Festival on June the 4th, 2016 to celebrate the proud legacy of LGBT individuals have won into the factories of our nation. Now, therefore, I, Teresa Pipe Thomason, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia, do hereby proclaim the month of June, Columbus, Georgia, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month. Sorry, Jeremy, my tongue was twisting.
It helps whenever we just say LGBT. But yeah, it's great to go ahead and say all those words because every individual class there deserves this day. They've worked hard for it. This past year has been an amazing year in our fight for equality. We thought a lot of people thought it would all be over June 26th last year when marriage equality hit. But then we're faced with a barrage of all new legislation and types of laws that we will not stand for any kind of intolerance, or we will not stand for any kind of a bill that promotes inequality or divisiveness. We're about bringing this nation together, one nation under God, like we said in our pledge earlier. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do, to make sure that we can build this unity, build this community with unity. Councilor Garrett, Councilor Pugh, thank you for both attending our Equality for All candidate forum, first of its kind in Columbus, Georgia. Y'all answered the tough questions, and I greatly appreciate that. I also want to thank Councilor Barnes, who's not here with us today, of course, the spirit of the mayor being there with us, and Councilor Garrett for being there at the Pride Festival this year. That meant a great deal to our citizens to see our leadership standing united, coming forward, and telling the people that they will serve all. And let me just say one thing, because I know we keep hearing so much stuff about the transgender issue. It's more than bathrooms. It's not just about bathrooms. Don't let the media and other people demonize the transgender community because there's so much that they have to go through. Believe me, we just want to get in, get out. So like everybody else out there, I want to thank our city. Thank the progress that we have made. Someone said the other day, well, Columbus hasn't progressed. Yes, we have. We now have an open Broadway Pride Festival. We now have an LGBT Pride Month proclamation, something that's never been done before in our history. And I want to thank this council and all the members of our community who take the time out of what they do to make sure equality is for all. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. Come on around, Liz. Shake your hand. to see you back. All right. Next, we have a very special resolution. And I'm going to ask, let's see. How about Counselor Garrett, would you mind filling in for Counselor Hughes? Okay. Sorry about that. We want to call forward the Columbus High School girls tennis team. If you all will come forward with your supporters and coaches and anyone else here to celebrate with you and come to the podium. As I said, we have a whole lot of exceptionalism going on in Columbus, and we're about to hear about it a bit more. And we're going to turn the floor over to Counselor Walker Garrett.
Congratulations. I was a tennis player in high school here and went on to play in college, and I know that's a really big accomplishment. We didn't see anybody win in state, so I just want to commend you for that. The resolution reads, whereas the Columbus High School Lady Blue Devils tennis team recently won their first Class 5A state championship in Jonesboro, Georgia, whereas CHS defeated Kell 3-1 to win the championship at Clayton County Air National Park, whereas the Lady Blue Devils won number 1 singles 6-2, 6-2, Mary Weston Corville, won number 1 doubles 6-2, 6-3, Madeline Bourne and Abby Corville, and won number 2 doubles 6-3, 6-3, Nicole Gordon and Elizabeth Stillman. Whereas the Lady Blue Devils had also defeated Cambridge in a tough 3-2 semifinal match. Whereas the accomplishments of the Columbus High School Lady Blue Devils tennis team are worthy of special recognition by this council. Now therefore, the Council of Columbus, Georgia hereby resolves, we hereby commend and congratulate the following members of the Columbus High School Lady Blue Devils tennis team upon their first Class 5A championship.
And raise your hand when your name's called. You're all too shy.
Madison Abel, Carolyn Boren, Madeline Boren, Abigail Corville, Mary Weston Corville, Lauren Douglas, Nicole Gordon, Jasmine Moody, Elizabeth Stillman, Coach Mikhail Anna Hill, and Coach Rick Gordon. Columbus is proud of this team, and we wish them every success in the future. Will a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the above-named participants? I hereby move for its adoption.
All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
All right. No, we want you all to say something first. Oh, absolutely. Something this big, you're going to have to, everybody's got to give a speech.
We'd just like to thank all of the city council members for giving us this resolution. This season was awesome. We were 25-0. We were undefeated, so that was a big deal for us. This is the first state title Columbus High's ever had in girls tennis, and we had many triumphs and many obstacles this season, and we overcame all of them. So I'd just like to say thank you to all of our supporters, parents, coaches, teammates, and the community for giving us this. Thank you.
Wow, that is tremendous. Wow. Counselor Huff.
Congratulations. My mom passed in 2000. She was a previous teacher at Columbus High School. She taught there from 1971 to about 81, 82 time frame. So I was splitting time between Hardaway and Columbus High School. But congratulations to you and to the Boren daughters, sisters, mama's here, daddy's here. They have really put in the time like the rest of your parents. But I'm bringing them to the forefront right now because when I've needed questions answered, they were headed to tennis matches. So they put you first. So just wanted you all to know that. But congratulations to the whole team.
Absolutely. Coach, you want to say anything? Either coach, both coaches. Come forward.
The accomplishment that these girls did this year was amazing. To win a state championship, the first one in school history, is incredible. But then to go undefeated against some really big schools out of Atlanta, they won all the tournaments that they were in. and continue to raise their level of play as we played people that were harder. So thank you guys for this recognition. They earned it, and thanks to all of our supporters and parents and the city for getting behind them this season.
You guys must have been tremendous. Did you ever have a team that said, "I'm not taking the court"? So y'all can have it? Well, good. Well, we're so very proud of you. Please come around and let us recognize you. Oh, that's amazing. Are you Teresa Abelstrom? No. Okay, all right. Good to see you. Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations. Hey, you did so good. Good to see you. Congratulations. Oh, how great. So proud of you, honey. Good to see you. So glad. This is wonderful. Oh, man, I'm so proud of these girls. Fantastic. I know you're proud. They're fabulous, huh?
Good job. Awesome job.
25-0. Woo! Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, this one. All right. Next, we're going to turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem to read recognitions of former board members. And if anyone's here, if you just stand, please, we'll make sure you get your resolution. Mayor Pro Tem.
Excuse me. Expressing appreciation to Mr. John Young for his meritorious service on the Commission of International Relations and Cultural Liaison Encounters, known as CIRCLE. Expressing appreciation to Ms. Gladys Ford for her meritorious service on the Community Development Advisory Council. To Ms. Felicia Hamilton for her service on the Convention and Business Bureau Board of Commissions. Mr. Carmen Caveza for his service on the Development Authority of Columbus. Mr. William Taylor Jr. for his service on the Development Authority. Mr. Carl L. Williams Jr. service on the Golf Course Authority. Ms. Rebecca Antrobius for her service on the Historic and Architectural Review Board. Appreciation to the late Mr. Ron Mahoney for his meritorious service on the Personnel Review Board. Appreciation to Ms. Jennifer Collins for her service on the Recreation Advisory Board. Expressing appreciation to Mr. Chris Coakley for his service on the Tree Board, and Mr. Steve Smith for his service on the Tree Board. And I move for adoption.
All right, a motion and second. All those in favor, please state aye. And we will make sure that those resolutions are forwarded to those people who serve, and we appreciate their service so much. If you're interested in serving on a board, commission, or authority, you can contact our Clerk of Council, Tiny Washington, by going to columbusga.org. So thank you again for those who serve. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and enter our business agenda. The first item on the business agenda is our business meeting agenda is the city attorney's agenda. Mr. Fay, to you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We've got some zoning hearings tonight for different property uses. The first one up is a petition at 7808 Whitesville Road and 1419 Double Churches Road. It's going to residential office without conditions. So previous conditions are being removed. It's a Big Creek property petition. Mr. George Mize is here with a petitioner recommended for approval for senior assisted living. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to be heard on this matter? Okay, I don't see any opposition. Any questions from council?
Not at this time.
All right, Mr. Mize, thank y'all for being here. We'll vote on this next week. I believe it's 9 a.m. meeting. Is that right, Ms. Washington? 9 a.m. next week for the vote. Thank you. Next zoning item is the property at 2285, 2300, 2312 Whittlesey Road, going from neighborhood commercial and LMI light manufacturing to general commercial. This is Mr. Ben Bowles, the Ensminger petition, retail and restaurant, recommended for conditional approval. Anybody want to be heard in the audience on this matter? All right, any questions of council?
Not at this time.
All right, Mr. Bowles, we appreciate you being here. They'll vote next week at 9 o'clock. Next, Mayor, the zoning item is a text amendment from the Unified Development Ordinance to alter one section in Table 3.1.1 having to do with convalescent or nursing facility use category. This will allow commercial office as a permitted use. It's recommended for approval. Planning directors and staff are here. Are there any questions in the audience or around the table?
Yes, we have Counselor Thomas.
Mr. Jones, if you would you expand on this just a little bit and tell me what this, what difference this is going to make in the UDO?
Simply put, Counselor, excuse me, simply put, it's just going to allow that use to go into a CO zone, which will accommodate their needs as well at the same time. Right now, we don't allow that. We don't allow for the assisted living facilities in a CO zone at this time.
What are some of the kinds of things that are in a CO? I know what an RO zone is. What are some of the kinds of businesses in a CO? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Well, as the name really implies, it's commercial office uses that can go in there now.
I just was wondering the difference between the residential office and the commercial.
Residential offices are primarily the apartments that can go into an RO zone. Commercial offices basically separates it away from the residential uses completely.
Okay.
So it's just a CO. Yeah.
Okay, got
so
it.
It's
Thank
more
you.
of those kind of uses, though.
Thank you.
All right. So, any more questions? We will vote on that next week at 9 o'clock. And Mayor, we've got one more zoning-related item on my agenda. It's number 13 with former Mayor Portachef here. We'd like to call that up for a vote. It's a special exception use request, 3703 University Avenue. It's currently zoned neighborhood commercial. It's proposed for a wireless telecommunications tower, and it's recommended for approval. This is a public hearing, so does anybody in the audience want to be heard? Okay, we got one out here that wants to be heard. Let's, Mr. Portachef, you go
Thank you very
first
much.
as petitioner.
Appreciate it. Let me just start off as a matter of levity by pointing out that Councilor Huff's tie is a heck of a lot louder than mine, but mine is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank the development organization, the PAC, and your wonderful employees over there, Rick and Will, for assisting us in this. I have with me Mr. John Throckmorton of Municipal Communications. If you go by this place, you're going to see two lousy buildings, and they're going to be torn down. Moreover, Municipal Communications is going to have landscaping. We passed out earlier so that you can see exactly where it is and what we're doing with it. And it will be a cell tower, but it will really be unobtrusive. Nobody will really be able to notice that because we're going to have landscaping around it. And the fact is, whether we like cell towers, we don't like cell towers, we need them in our community. Otherwise, we will not be able to communicate with each other with cell phones. John Throckmorton, do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, this would be the third tower that we've built in Columbus. We successfully developed two other sites, one in the St. Elmo area and one in Double Churches. And just like was discussed, the property right now, there's two distressed buildings there. We would mitigate all the issues with those buildings, really bring the aesthetics of that corner property up. We've contracted with a cut above a local Columbus area landscaper to really do an enhanced landscaping there. We've talked to the university also about that area. And so overall, this would be somewhat of an upgrade both aesthetically to the area and then service-wise. It's really got a gap that you can see on the propagation maps there, and that would be filled fairly quickly. It would be available for all four carriers and really service the demand that increases every year as data and video, in addition to voice, really become more and more used by wireless devices.
All right, we have Counselor Woodson with a question.
Yes, I just had a question. I see the landscaping, and I was wondering, is the pole going to be just a pole on itself where anyone can go to it, or is it going to be secure?
Yes, it'll be a secured compound around the tower, 6-foot fence with anti-climbing on top of that. What we've done, though, with the landscaping, though, is just try to screen that, give it a screening effect with some depth. But yeah, there will be no way to access the tower directly without, a whole lot of effort.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no further questions at this
Okay.
time.
If you would, sir, come on up. Give us your name and address for the record, and just share your concerns or questions.
My name is Mark Graham. I live at 3429 Flint Drive, which is the property in Mohina Woods, which backs up to this property. Simply wanted to express my concern that this might cause my property values to go down. There's a lot of people that are concerned about towers next door, and might cause people to be reluctant to buy my property when I plan to downsize in 10 years. Other concern is, where exactly is the tower going to be placed? Is it toward university and college, or is it back in the little corner right behind my property?
No, we're very sensitive to that. There was a similar situation at Double Churches in which we built the tower in the commercial district, and it butts up to residential also. Now, that's been up for about 2 years. What we've done is compared the value of those closest properties with that zip code. That's kind of the best analysis that we can do. And the property values do fluctuate, but the fluctuation is in line with the zip code. So typically what we have seen, now individual buyers may vary, but the general trend is that the property values will just tend to track with what's going on in that particular zip code. That's the analysis that we've got.
How you doing?
With regard to the placement of the tower, we've, for the most part, put it sort of central in the property, so it wouldn't be right up against your property line. The ordinance would not allow us to do that anyway. So we've met the setback requirements in the ordinance, both for the public right-of-way and for your property. And so that tends to put it right in the center of that corner property.
And if you'll accept some hearsay, because my daughter and the family live in Mohina Woods, and we did check out with real estate agents, and just as John pointed out, at Double Churches, there is no diminution of Mohina Wood property, and you got a great area there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's see here, we have Counselor Baker.
Yeah, is there any natural buffering up against the neighboring?
There are some existing trees.
And will it stay?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what your landscaping plans are, I guess is the question.
In addition to the landscaping and you can kind of see them there on the sketch, there are some existing trees that will stay. There are a few trees that are closer to the right-of-way that will need to come down, but to the extent that we can preserve the existing trees, we're going to, because like you said, it does have that buffering and screening effect.
By the right-of-way, you mean university or?
Yes, university and college.
And Council, let me point out one thing. If you all have been there, you see you see those two decrepit, rotten-looking buildings. If anything is going to bring down property values, those buildings bring down property values, and they're going to be completely destroyed.
Okay, thank you.
We have Counselor Thomas.
John, the property that you're talking about in Double Churches, is that the one on Double Churches Road near the, it seems like it was a package store?
It's a package store, yeah.
To your concern, I will tell you that when they first came to us with the proposal for Double Churches, I was concerned because that is right in the middle of a residential area. If you drive by there today, you can't tell where that pole is with all of the landscaping that has gone on. And I would assume and urge the same type of thing to go on here, that you won't be able to tell unless you know and are specifically looking for the tower. They do a really good job of the camouflage, if that helps any at all. I don't know if it does.
And this tower is actually 30 feet shorter than the Double Churches tower, and the landscaping is a lot more extensive because we're on that that corner property, so it's going to be seen by a lot more people, so we just went ahead and
Yeah, you can't even tell that there's one there at this point on Double Churches.
But the liquor store is still there.
I wouldn't know that, Mr. Mayor. That's not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
All right. It
If there are no
appears-
other
yeah.
questions, this is a resolution, and it can be voted on at this time.
Okay, we've got a motion and second for approval. Let me cue it for vote, although it's down the list a bit. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. All right, and it is queued for voting. It
All
passes.
right, that has passed.
Okay,
All right, thank you for being here.
thank you.
Next item, Mayor, is the first reading. This is a public hearing on the operating budget for FY17 for the consolidated government. Operating budget, $270,013,787. Anybody in the audience want to be heard on the budget while it's on first reading? Raise your hand, please. All right, it's open for any council discussion or questions.
This time. I am, however, getting several comments. If we could look into the fact that for Council District 8, it still has Mr. Buck's name. I know that the clerk is taking appropriate notes, and that is our official record. That's probably something with IT, perhaps. Yeah, and so we'll get that, just get a work order in, we can make that change, and we'll do it at the same time. Councilor Garrett, and get your photo right on the intro, too. So we've got that taken care of. His vote still counts, so don't worry. We'll just have the clerk make the official record. Okay, Mr. Fay, back to you. At this time, there's no comments.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we're going to bring back the operating budget for final vote next week at 9 o'clock. All right, item 5 on our agenda.
Okay,
is-
hold on. It looks like Councilor Davis would like to speak.
I would, Mayor, to this. I'm not sure if it's 4 or 5 on here that we're talking about, but I did want to make one more attempt because I believe it's the right thing to do. We've got a world-class facility next door, and the only way to make that thing successful is to keep it open, and the hours are going to be necessary. Certainly, it's going to cause some changes in the budget, but I just feel like at this point that if it's not being used, then ultimately you could lose the momentum or any momentum that you might have to keep it going. I think it's really important to make sure that the facility is available. If you have it, make sure it's available and it's open so people can use it. It's a multi-function, multi-purpose facility, and it needs to be operated from that standpoint. And I would like to, my intent is to put back on the table in an effort to try to find some more hours for operations to allow Dr. Worsley to better construct a program that would at least optimize the facility and allow it to have a chance for success. I think, again, I'll say it again, the further down the line you go, I think you're going to lose your momentum. I don't want to see that happen. I believe in that. It may not be the position of other council members, but Mayor, you saw that, the necessity, or you saw the understanding of that when you somewhat crafted a plan to make that happen. I think the Mayor Pro Tem and I made a counter proposal when there was a consideration of a subsidized program now, the after-school daycare program that's been subsidized for the city for a long, long time, and certainly whether it's this year or next year, this council, I think, is going to be in position that they're going to have to make some adjustments with that program because it's becoming a burden if you look at the history of the program. Does it serve a purpose? Yes, but certainly as time's gone by, it's becoming more and more of a burden. And in an effort to try to raise some funds for Parks and Recs, although I believe, I'm from the mindset that it all goes in the same pot and you run all your facilities. And certainly in the future, there may have to be some adjustments with some facilities to make it all work, barring that no new revenue starts coming into the city. So I would like to put that back on the table. I just need to know the appropriate time. I think now is the time, since we're discussing the budget. I don't know if that needs to be in the form of a motion with a second, but I would like to add that part back in the budget, Mayor, that you originally intended. I think it was a $200,000.
Yeah, $4.
Right, it's $4, and I think the Mayor Pro Tem and I cut that in half to 100, and it was only a $2 increase. So I'd like to keep it at that 100 and just make that proposal one more time. Maybe throughout the year, there may be some other opportunities to find some revenue to increase the hours, but normally I wouldn't do something like this late in the stage of the budget, but I just really believe this is the right thing to do.
We'll, I guess, take that in a form of a motion, Mr. City Attorney, and, okay, and a second from the Mayor Pro Tem, and we'll turn it over to the Mayor Pro Tem for discussion.
And the other night I was thinking about this in the middle of the night, and I never did say why I supported increasing the rates $2. If the program goes to the school system, their rates are double what our rates are. We're only talking about going up $2. And I know $2 is a lot to a lot of people, but $2 is better than $24.
And we have Councilor Huff.
Yes, I am in favor of trying to find a way to increase the hours, but I'm not in favor of the increase on the fees. The amount of money used, I guess, paid by the parents to the after-school program, the school district has had the wonderful opportunity to pick and choose the schools that they deal with. And Parks and Rec is left with the remaining schools. I agree with Councilor Davis. It's something that we will have to address in the future. I'm just not ready to address it right now. Maybe next year, because we're taking from after-school program at this point where the parents have not had sufficient amount of time to prepare. And then looking down the road, I don't know what else we had in there, because I know it was after-school program. We had looked at the 1% hotel tax, that they didn't want to touch that either. So I just need some clarity now. Is this just strictly after-school fees?
That's the motion on the table, is $2 increase in the after-school fees for $100 estimated net additional revenue.
Okay, yeah, I'm not in favor of...
Did I say 100,000? I'm sorry, 100.
Yeah.
100,000, yes.
Okay, I understand. I'm just not in support of increasing fees at this point. Thank you.
All right. And we have Councilor Thomas.
Mayor, I just want to make sure, and Mr. City Attorney, of the procedural, this came to us as part of the mayor's recommended budget, the $4 fee. And we put that on the add delete list and deleted that fee. Is that correct?
That's right. It was
And now, this motion would bring back $2 of that $4.
Or you could just look at it as a completely freestanding motion. But, yeah, because at this point it is. My recommendation was voted down, and now...
And if then this motion passes, the budget, as has been advertised and so forth, will be increased by $100,000 for the aquatic center or the Parks and Rec use. If it is not passed, then we continue on as we were when we finished the add-delete list. I just want, that's, okay. I just want to make sure that I've got all those steps in a row. Okay, thank you.
And of course, as a first read, and Mr. City Attorney, if you'd like to speak to this, I think certainly a budget can be amended even though it's been advertised at a certain amount. So if it's amended at a public hearing where there's a quorum and all the requirements we have, it can certainly be amended if it passes with the majority of the vote. Let's see, Councilor Thomas.
And so if, excuse me, if this passes, then next week when we vote on the, if this motion passes, next week when we vote on the entire budget, this $2 increase will be in that budget, correct? And can it at that time be removed, deleted?
On the
Voted out?
second read?
Not normally.
Yeah, what happens on a second
Not
read?
normally on second reading, we would have to convert it to a first reading and delay the second reading till the third week in June. So normally the time to amend it is now on first reading.
But we could, I mean, I only say this because, I'm not saying we want to, because obviously you're pushing it up against the limit, but I know Macon had a much more severe circumstance, and I think they had to go just after July 1, which of course was in violation of state law. So anytime up to midnight on June 30th, you could convene theoretically.
Theoretically.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Councilor Davis.
And I want to say the budget stays the same. There's no increase. It's just it would be
No,
a
it-
fee in the Parks and Recs,
Yeah.
and then it would be the director reallocating it.
It would change the budget $100,000 because this new revenue would be coming in. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, it would then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And but it's balanced by the expense category, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. It would increase $100,000 both on the revenue and the expenditure side, so it would remain a balanced budget and no additional access to the fund balance, so it would remain balanced.
Well, that's what I meant, but.
Yeah, that it remains balanced, it doesn't throw it out of whack.
Thank you.
All right, we have Councilor Huff.
Deputy City Manager, what's the increase on the parents? The fees for after-school program?
$2 is what?
I know the $2 is, and then it brings it to an amount of how much?
26?
It ranges depending on the income. We can pull that out, I believe
Yeah,
that's...
Mr. City Manager, Pam, you look for it, and I think...
I have it.
The lowest level would go to $28 a week.
Okay, so it's a
And,
$2 increase a
And then,
week.
of course, it's based on income, so
Okay.
the lowest fee in the income, of any income category is currently $26.
Okay.
So this would take it to 28.
Okay.
But we do have, and that's a good point, we do have a sliding scale that takes in consideration the income of the parents, the ability to pay.
That's correct, and the school district has a flat fee of $45.
Flat fee of 45?
Yes, for all, they don't have income categories, it's $45.
Okay, okay.
All right.